decides to go to court, sue Chibisi Akande, for example, for slander or for libel, do you think that kind of case will stand in the Nigerian court?
It will be very ridiculous. The president is a public servant acting on behalf of Nigerians on public matters. Every Nigerian has a right to make a comment, to express an opinion. And what Chief Justice Akande did was to express an opinion. So it cannot create a course of action at all. If they go to court on that, they make themselves a sort of laughter and joke. Not only throughout Nigeria, but throughout the British Commonwealth, which practices the same sort of common law as we do.
Okay, just before I allow you go, Prof, can you tell us, in the Nigerian political arena and the democracy that we practice here, do you think that the opposition is doing the right thing, considering the fact that they are supposed to be a watchdog? Are they doing their role? And just mention a bit briefly, if you will, on the performance of the current administration at the center.
I think the opposition is performing excellently. It's one of the best oppositions any government would want anywhere. You see, you have to look at opposition from many angles, not only from the negative, but also as a reminder of what you ought to have done, which you are still to do, or of what you think, which you ought not to have done. If you have an opposition as we have, particularly the ACN opposition, which is on its toes, which does its homework, and out regularly with criticisms of misgovernment going on, what this government should do is to benefit from that opposition and to get together with its board and review what they have done and try to correct it, rather than exhibiting this totally ill lack of sense of humor and making this country so ridiculous. I was embarrassed that a man like Ruben Abati, with his background in terms of academics and experience in the Guardian, with all the columns he wrote, could have regressed to the level where it's totally out of tune and out of correlation with what's happening about politics and political criticism all over the world. So the opposition is doing very well. It's a pity that the government is not taking advantage of having a good opposition.
Thank you so much, Prof, for giving your thoughts on this particular matter. That's Professor Saga, a legal practitioner, giving us an insight on what the legal implication of what Chief BC Akande or the opposition party are doing to the president. Let me ask you, before we go to our Abuja studio, Alhaji Mohammed, with all of this that you are saying, a lot of people are saying that if you have, for example, if you are able to feed a presidential candidate in 2015, and if you are able to win, would you even accept half of what you're giving to the president, which a lot of people feel that it's sour in the mouth of most Nigerians?
Like we said, if you're a public office holder, you must be ready to accept criticism, be tolerant in your disposition, and try to learn from what they're saying. Let me please give you a quote. Somebody once described the American president, that is Reagan, and these were the words he used. He's unusually incurious, abnormally unintelligent, amazingly inarticulate, fantastically uncultured, extraordinarily uneducated, and apparently quite proud of all these things.
But you can't use those words against in Nigeria culturally.
No, listen.
Isn't that out of context? Isn't that going too far?
I'm just saying, this was said by journalists to President Reagan, the most powerful man in the world. But what did he do? He did not unleash, the CIA or the FBI on him. Neither did he even reply. Rather, he studied what the criticism was and tried to find solutions to it. Now, what we're saying is very simple. This is a democracy. And whatever we're saying or doing here is not personal. It is our view about how the government is performing. And let the government reply and say, no, you are wrong. We have performed much better. But like I keep saying, we always back whatever we say with statistics.
It's appearing that you are probably going from an opposition to a bone in the neck. Well,
that is the whole idea of being opposition. Is to make the government very uncomfortable and put the government on its toes
on issues that suggestion that will take the country forward, isn't it?
We always do.
All right, let me allow Dr. Onanuju to come into this conversation. Dr. Onanuju, if you're still with us, can you tell us, basically, a lot of people are saying here on the social media that it seems the presidency is jittery, or the PDP is jittery of the new formed APC. Does that make the PDP look jittery, especially with the recent, with the issue that we're talking about today?
No, that is not true. The presidency is not jittery. Me as a Nigerian, we are all happy that the APC has been registered. What makes democracies beautiful is the availability of a vibrant opposition. The APC, as an idea, it's a welcomed one. But the composition, yes, I know it's very difficult to actually form a national party. I have said this before. Before the PDP can feel any way threatened by the emergence of an opposition party, that party must be first and foremost have the ubiquity of the National Union of Road Transport Workers that I say in comparison. In this case, this is not even that. The APC doesn't even have that. But I agree, it's new, it's a work in progress. At best, most people describe it as something that looks like an ethno-religious platform. And that's the truth. You can see what the mothership state, Lagos State, did the other day by deporting Nigerians away. And you know that is unconstitutional. And that just shows you a really tinkling of the kind of governance that the APC may bring in. It's something that's condemnable for any government to seek to remove citizens by force, people who contributed to the building of Lagos, and because of their sudden impecunious positions, they are now being told they are no more Lagosians.
All right, I would like you to comment on this particular very one briefly, because we are really out of time now before we round up here in the studio. Can you tell us, part of what Chibisi Akonde said he was talking about is that it seems most of the actions or some of the actions of President Jonathan is just mere witch hunt, and he gave examples of Governor Rotimi Amechi's situation and the recent EFCC issues on former governor of Kwara State, Bukola Saraki.
That is not true. On the issue of Governor Rotimi Amechi, if you remember, Governor Amechi came to governance because the PDP won an election. The fact that the supremacy of the party is protected in our laws is an unimpeachable fact. Because Governor Rotimi Amechi is governor, it's only consequent upon the fact that the PDP won the election. So if you win an election and the opposition claim that they conspired to deceive Governor Amechi and allowing him to suddenly get carried away, and then you saw the PDP and the other members embellishing the tyranny of the majority.
So in a sense, Dr. Onanuju, you do not agree from what Chibisi Akande said that the President Jonathan uses the apparatus of states to witch hunt people in the country, especially some governors or some people.
That is not true. No, it is on record that President Jonathan is the first Nigerian that rules by not listening to what people say. He keeps quiet, and because he rules by not talking too much, by not reacting too much, some term that to be weak. And you know, it's a tenet of saying that says, speak less interact less, and don't say everything that you see. Governor, President Jonathan has
thank you so much, Dr. Ononuju. I'm afraid our time is fast spent. But just briefly, in less than 1 minute, I want you to just react and we close.
Well, I think the presidential spokesperson has been quite dishonest with his characterization of APC as an ethno-religious party. This is part of the campaign of calumny against APC. We are a pan-Nigerian political party. Of the 35 members of the interim national committee, 17 are Christian, 18 are Muslims, and they are drawn from 29 states of the federation. I do not see how we can be more balanced.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, he spoke about the deportation, in quote, of some destitutes from Lagos State. I think this is completely unfair. It's nothing but politics, and this is the modus operandi of Governor Obi. Anytime there's election in Anambra State, he tries to incite the evils against the Yorubas. Let it be on record that Governor Obi, on the December 4, 2011, deported, in quote, 29 destitutes to Ebonyi and Akwa Ibom State, and yet nobody cried and said it was.
Thank you so much. Because of our time, we have to go. I really have to thank you, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, for joining us and giving us perspective on some of the thoughts of your party, and also Dr. Catch Ononuju, sitting in for Dr. Doyin Okupe on this particular matter. All of you that have sent one mail or the other and tweets, thank you very much. Your thoughts are actually coming in. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program tonight. I'm Sheung Okinbaloye. Do reconnect with me. Let the conversation continue right after this show at Sheung Okin, and send your email. Till next time, good night.